This is Malachi Church versus State. 50 years ago, almost 50 years ago, this movie came out. Now, this movie is about a person that just goes out randomly, kills people, creating total chaos and hiding behind laws. That's right. The Constitution in regards to this one, meaning, illegal search and seizures, reading them their rights, things like this. So you'll find out later on that the guy's let go because the guy in the movie, meaning the movie's Dirty Harry. Now, Callahan, he lives by his own rules, right? But he's supposed to be one of the good guys and follow the rules, but he kind of has his own way of doing things. You get what I'm saying? But it's because he didn't follow the rules and everybody else is following the rules, certain people were let go. Now, we find out that Dirty Harry doesn't always pull the trigger, because in the first part of the movie we get this one, right? And that's this one. Everybody knows this one, right?
I know what you're thinking. Did he fire 6 shots or only 5? Well, to tell you the truth, in all this excitement, I kind of lost track myself. But Ian, this is a 44 Magnum, the most powerful handgun in the world, and would blow your head clean off. You've got to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
So he's saying, in all this chaos that's going around, I've kind of forgotten what is right and what is wrong. Well, not really. But I've forgotten what's legal and what isn't legal. See, the laws have kind of been blurred, right? Meaning, he shouldn't be killing people randomly. So, and I know a lot of people like this movie. I like the movie. Don't get me wrong. But there's little things within movies like this that say a lot more things than we really realize. Now, in the beginning of this, right, you're going to see right next, the guy asked him, he says, I got to know if he had the bullets in there, if he didn't. Because if he knew that he didn't have the bullets, he'd have went after the gun. And so this part of the movie sets up the whole thing that happens later on, meaning how the other guy gets away with killing people, trying to get money, all these different things, because Harry, broke a few rules. And so he was able to be let go because they were following the law, meaning the Constitution. And why am I talking about all this? Because we're getting to a point in time to where no one wants to follow the law. Nobody wants to follow the Constitution. Nobody wants to follow the 10 Commandments and things of this nature. They want to create their own laws. This is what they've done for the past 50 years. Look how crappy this system has gotten. Hey man, we can't have illegal search and seizures, be held up in court, because the bad guy will get away with it. Predictive programming. Why are those rules in there? Well, those rules are in there to protect every citizen. Now, those rules really only apply to people with a lot of money. This is why people go, well, there's more blacks in prison. Well, yeah, there is, because you can't afford it. Even though the guy broke into your car or, pulled your car over and searched you, like the guy running for president, he had the frisk, illegal search and seizure, and they had that stop and frisk thing, even though that goes against your constitutional rights. And like the people talking about how these new Pharisees are going to try to take over out of Israel and create these new laws that Christians are supposed to apply to and things of this nature. They need new laws to apply over and rewrite the old laws instead of upholding the laws that have been in place for many, many years, like the Constitution, which is perfect in its simplicity, like the Ten Commandments that were perfect in their simplicity. But man, hey, look, we can't have this going on. We got to create more. That's what they did to Moses. Hey, come on, Moses. Yeah, I know God said, don't covet thy neighbor's wife, but what if I want to get a divorce? What am I supposed to do then? It's all these things added to it to create confusion. And that's what happens next. It's a state of confusion, except for when Dirty Harry actually does what he does. Because he says, I gots to know. Listen.
Hey, I gots to know.
So he kind of laughs as he pulls the trigger because he didn't have any legal aspects behind him. It was empty. You get what I'm saying? So I know this is a little far-fetched, but in reality we have our aspects of our laws, our Constitution, and the laws that God gave us, right? And all what they are doing is empty. Meaning, if you don't stand on the Constitution, meaning the first 10, not the added crap later, because they're relevant to us, and the 10 Commandments, if you don't stand on those things, what they're firing at you, the world, is total just empty shells. Get what I'm saying? But let's go on, because old Dirty Harry is Dirty Harry for a reason. And let me try to get to move up here. He gets now a new guy going to help him. Okay, here we go. This is when they learn that he's Dirty Harry. Now, if you listen to this aspect, now you're going to hear why he's Dirty Harry, and that he shares some of the same aspects of the killer in the movie that randomly kills people. More or less, he kills gay black people. He wants to kill a priest. He kills off a woman in the beginning, then he buries a woman alive, and then he steals a bus full of kids at the end. But let's just listen to this part so you see the setup of all of it, right? So let's go.
There is one question, Inspector Callahan. Why do they call you Dirty Harry?
Well, that's one thing about our Harry. Doesn't play any favorites. Harry hates everybody. Limeys, nicks, heaves, fat negroes, niggers, honkies, chicks, you name it.
How's he feel about Mexicans?
Ask him.
Especially Spicks.
See, that's a key to it. And he's setting himself up to be the same aspect as the killer. Let's go a little forward in the movie, if I can find it here. We're going to get at the point where I believe he was let go because how they got him. And then you're going to hear a rundown of how during this time they're following the Constitution. But in the movie, they're all, you got Harry, which, he's trying to deal with these scumbags, which is how you need to deal with them. You just kill them. If you find one that does it, you're supposed to kill them. But the bad guys are the cop bosses, which have to follow the law, right? So they have to follow the Constitution. So they have this discussion within there. So if you think about over the past 50 years, what has happened? Now, what has happened is nobody follows the Constitution anymore because they assume everybody is like the person in this movie, which is the bad person. and all cops are just trying to get the bad person, right? Get what I'm saying? And you can say cops, you can say our political system, that no one's following the Constitution anymore, meaning they have to follow it, and unfortunately it protects both parties, right? And when you don't follow it, it only helps those who have the money and never helps anybody that really doesn't have the representation to make sure that we follow the laws. Meaning, even under this new thing that people are worried about with these new Pharisees creating these laws, like I said, the only people that will have the power and the ability are the people that are in power and have the money and ability to make sure that those laws apply to them as written. Get what I'm saying? This is why God created the Ten Commandments, to protect us. That's why we have the U.S. Constitution to protect us. Does it also apply to scumbags? Unfortunately, it does. But there are more good people really in this earth than there are scumbags, I hope. But let's go, and so you can listen to how they're supposed to do things, even though you'll see that Harry doesn't agree with it. So we're gonna go to that. I think it's here. Here we go.
I'll be done in a minute. Have a seat. I've just been looking over your arrest report. A very unusual piece of police work. Really amazing.
Yeah, well, I had some luck.
You're lucky I'm not indicting you for assault with intent to commit murder.
What?
Where the hell does it say you've got a right to kick down doors, torture suspects, deny medical attention and legal counsel? Where have you been? Does Escobedo ring a bell? Miranda? You must have heard of the Fourth Amendment.
Fourth Amendment, illegal search and seizure.
What I'm saying is that man had rights.
Well, I'm all broken up about that man's rights.
You should be. I've got news for you, Callahan. As soon as he's well enough to leave the hospital, he walks.
What are you talking about?
He's free.
And you're letting him go?
We have to. We can't try him.
And why is that?
Because I'm not wasting $500,000 of the taxpayers' money on a trial we can't possibly win. The problem is we don't have any evidence.
Evidence? What the hell do you call that?
I call it nothing. Zero.
You're trying to tell me that ballistics can't match the bullet up to this rifle?
It does not matter what ballistics can do. This rifle might make a nice souvenir, but it's inadmissible as evidence.
And who says that?
It's the law.
Well, then the law is crazy.
This is Judge...
See what I'm saying? And that's how they're going to, the Pharisees of today, or the people that are worried about the I can't remember what laws that, I'm hearing it all over now, and I've even had people ask me about it. They're going to say that the laws that, the Ten Commandments that are there, and the laws that God's already given us are crazy. And they will have to have new laws. Meaning just like in Genesis, that's what they went and told Moses, said he was crazy, he needed to create more laws. Because we need to know what we can eat and what we can't eat, and we got to do this, and we got to do that, all these new added things that need to be added, because the laws that were in existence, the laws that God created, were crazy. Because they allowed certain things to happen. Well, God didn't address how to divorce a woman. God didn't address how to do this. He didn't address how to do that. Well, he didn't need to, because everything that he said was covered in really everything. And, well, that's crazy. We can't have that. Now, here's the issue with Mr. Dirty Harry, is that he wouldn't have had any of these problems, and this is a biblical thing too, is if you see somebody murder somebody or kill somebody, then they should go meet their fate pretty quickly, so the person that they murdered could then try them in heaven immediately. So in an aspect, Dirty Harry there's no problem with him if he would have pulled the trigger, if there would have been a bullet in the gun. Get what I'm saying? Well, that happens at the end of the movie. He finally does kill the guy when he's escaping, and he ends up dropping his badge. If I can go to that point, I think it's let's see if I can find it here. Let's see. And I think he even says what the law is and how he can do it and how he can't do something. If I remember correctly.
I know what you're thinking, punk. You're thinking, did he fire 6 shots or only 5? Now, to tell you the truth, I forgot myself in all this excitement. But being this is a 44 Magnum, the most powerful handgun in the world, and will blow your head clean off, you gotta ask yourself a question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
So the movie starts out, well, it ends with the same thing that he said in the beginning, but he wasn't lucky this time. And I think at the end of this is he drops his badge into the water. Yeah, I think he does. Yeah, and that's to show that, hey, you know, I'm under a system that doesn't. There's just a lot to this movie that people don't realize. I think he throws it in the water. Yeah. Think about it. There's a lot to this old movie that applies to how things are happening today. Now, like I said, on one side, hey, got rid of a scumbag, person. But on the other side, you gotta be willing to pull the trigger. And with the way things are going these days, and the way I don't know. I just see a lot of predictive programming and all this, and I see how people, this mindset and mentality are that the laws. They've added more laws to then almost have so many laws that people get that I almost feel like we're going to go back. They're going to try to go back to a new rewritten laws that are more condensed. That's what I'm thinking. Anyways, that won't really apply to anybody, just like none of these do. Anyways, a little bit of predictive programming from a cool movie. And in reality, not to beat up on Dirty Harry, but this is kind of the way it was supposed to be anyways, is that if you were a father and somebody came and raped your daughter or stole the horse from you, you'd go out there and shoot them, basically. So then you wouldn't even get the government involved, because every time the government gets involved, you have this aspect of one that follows the law, then one protects the bad guy, then one really doesn't protect you, and goes. So we're going to see this aspect of confusion within the laws to then create something that's even more strenuous. Anyways, Malachi signing out. Church for State. Hug your kids. Call your parents. Go see a neighbor. Repent and be baptized. Old Dirty Harry. Come on. And here's another thing too, in regards to all the laws that these new Pharisees will create, they really don't mean anything to somebody who's been born again, meaning fully submerged in water, baptized, born again. It's the first thing Christ did. He even talked about it. He even talked about it with somebody who made a comment, well, how am I going to go back into my mom's stomach and all that kind of crap. And when he came back, that was one of the first things he said. One of the last things he said, go forth and baptize all nations in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. There's a reason for it. There's always a reason for it. You want to be under God's law? That's what you do. You want to be under man's law? You get what you get. You get what you get. You might get a Callahan, or you might get his boss, but you probably won't get either. Because at least with a dirty Harry, he'll shoot you and you'll be done with it. The others will just throw you in prison and have you raped by a bunch of queers. Anyways, talk to you later. Bye.
Blessed am I, for you have heard my cry. Give me something more than I ever desired. But it's hard sometimes for me to realize that your love is never blind, forevermore. I see your love and my heart begins to soar. There is so much love that it's hard for me to store it all inside, deep inside of my mind. That's where the feelings come. Bless me now, you have given me a son to share this world as one forevermore. I will take unto thee responsibility to plant and continue to see the sun. I see your heart and my love begins to grow, and I see your love and it's an endless flow for all who seek to taste the water for all life. Give me life to grow. I see the need to share this word with all, be a nation of all, forevermore. And I know it's hard to understand that what you're here to comprehend is love will never go. do the will of the one, no matter how strong I feel it's wrong. But I'm crying within, Lord, help me to control these things within, and do the will that you began to lay on my son.